Well, this is truly a great getaway. Now, as most of you know, Michigan is shaped like a mitt. And on today's show, we're going to be discovering the thumb of this mitt. We're going to get some time to go around the coastline where we'll see lighthouses. We'll go out onto the water itself and have some fun out there. I know one of the things that surprises me is all the rocks that are out here too. This is something you see in northern Michigan all the time, but not so much in southern Michigan. We're going to be discovering that today along with some great parks. A lot of good things. We got some super surprises for you, so stay with us.
We're off to one of Michigan's best-kept secrets, an area with state parks that have a sunrise and a sunset from the same spot, where Lake Huron almost surrounds you with a sandy beach and beautiful shoreline with pictured rocks for incredible kayaking. Topping off all this beauty are some of the best golf courses you'll find anywhere. Join us as we rediscover Michigan's thumb. Caseville is located at the mouth of the Pigeon River on Saginaw Bay and has one of Michigan's most popular beaches along the scenic drive M25. Caseville features fine restaurants, camping, and a quaint downtown shopping area. With a harbor of refuge and great boating facilities, it brings anglers into the area in search of walleye, perch, trout, and more. Today, Caseville is famous for its great closer up north appeal and its world-famous Cheeseburger Festival. The festival happens once a year in August when the sleepy village transforms into a Jimmy Buffett extravaganza that stretches the length of the town. The tourists and locals alike pour into Caseville to gawk at the flamingo merchandise and buy cheeseburgers and margaritas from the street vendors. This wildly popular Michigan Summer Festival takes its name from the Jimmy Buffett song, Cheeseburgers in Paradise. If you like to camp with access to miles of sandy beach, then this area was designed for you. With 2 state parks and a city park, you'll never feel crowded. Our first stop was Caseville Village Park, where we spoke with Steve Romzek with the Huron County Road and Park Commission.
Well, Steve, we got a warm day out here. You know, it kind of looks like you might be a little overdressed as the sun keeps coming up today.
Yes, this afternoon this place will be jumping with people. The parking lot will be full. The beach will be at least half full. We have a quarter of a mile of the best sandy beach in the state here.
This is beautiful here, and I see that we've got all kinds of things here at this park. I notice we've got a lot of things for the kids too. We've got and like you said, there's a huge beach area that's here.
Huge.
And you were talking now, the water in the lakes are starting to come up a little bit?
Yes, we have about a foot of water come up from what it used to be. The average is at that one swimming buoy.
Okay.
And as it comes up, we have less beach, but it still stays pretty nice.
Caseville County Park is situated on 40 acres, boasting 65 water and electric sites, 67 full hookup, and 72 mobile home sites. With both of the Thumb State Parks located just outside of Caseville, it makes it easy for George Lunginger, the supervisor of both the Sleeper State Park and the Bort Crescent State Park. George sat down with us to give us a complete overview of both parks. We're sitting out looking over the beach area here at the Sleeper State Park. George, this park is a beautiful park here, and it's actually on both sides of the road from what I can tell. On 25 here, and we're right along the bay.
Correct. The swimming area, the picnic area are on the lake side of the road. Campground and trails and cabins are on the inland side of the highway.
Why don't we start with this side of the road itself? I know it's kind of odd the way you are doing this, and most people think you're going to come down here and find all beach. Okay, but you're doing things a little bit different here. Why don't you explain it?
Correct. We have about a half a mile of sandy beach. The middle third of it is a traditional swim area that we groom with a DEQ permit, and that's kept clear for the swimmers. The other 2/3 of the beach, though, we're letting Mother Nature decide what's best for it in terms of vegetation. We're keeping the invasive species out, letting natural species grow of plant life, and in that way we're fostering habitat for the wildlife that exists along the shoreline. And also by doing that, it helps prevent shoreline erosion.
Okay, good. Well, now what kind of facilities are on this side of the park?
This side we have our picnic shelter that can be rented out, and also just open lawn space for picnic tables and grilling, and of course the swim area over there to our west.
Now, is there like a beach house here, a place people can change?
Exactly. There is a beach house where people can change with bathroom facilities, and that is right at the swim area.
Now, on the other side is pretty much your campground. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the campground? How many sites do you have?
We have 226 sites, one mini cabin, and they're all modern, though we do welcome tent campers who aren't really interested in electricity. So we have a little bit of everything for everyone. And then past that, and we have about, as I was telling you earlier, 2,700 acres worth of forested areas that have 4 miles of maintained hiking trail, as well as countless miles of deer run.
Well, George, you mentioned a mini cabin that you have here, but you also have other cabins?
Yes, about a half a mile into the woods, we've got about 14 rusty cabins that each sleep up to 10 people, and also with those cabins there's a dining hall you can rent out separately, and of course they have their own toilet shower building, so you're not roughing it too much. Another nice thing about this park is it's one of the handful of parks in the Michigan State Park system where you can see both a sunrise and a sunset in the same day.
Port Crescent State Park is located at the tip of Michigan's thumb along 3 miles of sandy shoreline of Lake Huron's Saginaw Bay. Some of the modern campsites offer a waterfront view either of the bay or the old Pinnebog River channel. Port Crescent recently added a new camper cabin which sleeps 6 and has a scenic view of Saginaw Bay. A wooden boardwalk parallels the day-use shoreline, offering many scenic vistas of Saginaw Bay. The park also offers excellent fishing, canoeing, hiking, cross-country skiing, birding, and hunting opportunities. As we travel, we're always looking for fun and interesting places to eat. When we headed towards Port Austin, one of the things we heard over and over again was try the farm restaurant. Well, this was great. A restaurant that lives up to its name. Located in rural Huron County and situated in the middle of a farmer's field, it not only gives you the feeling of being on the farm, but also the freshness of homemade food and backyard cooking. The restaurant has what they call their smokehouse menu, and anyone can watch as their favorites are being prepared outside on an extraordinary cooking wagon. It was fun to watch award-winning barbecue chef John Ford as he prepared fresh ribs with his special barbecue sauce cooking over Texas pecan wood. Now, there was more to this special cooking than that, but I was sworn to secrecy and I didn't want to bite the hand that feeds me, if you know what I mean. We left John to continue his cooking, and we were lucky enough to be taken through the kitchen for a close-up of how the meals were prepared. I don't know how much of this I can take without grabbing at the next plate that comes by. Owner Pam Gabriel moved up here 17 years ago and started the farm restaurant. Today she's still involved as a chef and supervisor. That was incredible. We were full and it was time to call it a day. So we paid our bill and headed into Port Austin, where we would spend the night at the Lake Vista Resort and prepare for an exciting day on the water. Nestled on the shoreline of beautiful Lake Huron with 90 miles of shoreline, Port Austin is quiet and picturesque, enhanced by the beauty of the lake, wooded areas, and rolling farmlands. Port Austin is a quaint little village at the tip of the thumb with a nice little downtown to get supplies you'll need for a day on the water or a meal after a day in the field. Our day would be spent on the Tip of the Thumb Water Trail with guide Chris Boyle, who also owns Port Austin Kayak and Bike Rental. We started at Chris's kayak office where we picked up our gear and then followed Chris and his assistant where we would start our trip.
This is just amazing coming through here. You know, it's kind of like a miniature picture box out here. I never thought I'd find something like this in southern Michigan.
It's hard to find out here. One of the few ways to get to it is by kayak.
That's what you were saying out here. Basically, it's all private property along here, but out in here, anybody can come out here. You just have to have a kayak, or maybe a canoe, in order to get through on these shallow areas.
That's correct. It's all rocks and shoals on the way in here, so it's hard to get in by boat or jet ski or any other way, which also keeps it very peaceful.
Now, you've got a lot of people out here then, I take it.
We guide people out here, but people can also paddle out here on their own.
Okay.
We put in right downtown Port Austin. It's about an hour paddle, hour and 15-minute paddle out here. And you got all this beautiful rock formation to come see.
Okay, what are some of the do you have names for them?
This one behind us is they call Turnip Rock. And then back behind us, what we came under, they call Thumbnail Point. Some people say that's the actual tip of the thumb, and that's the thumbnail. Yeah, so.
You know, one thing you might find too, if you can see on top of this, I'm not sure you can at the moment, but there's a lot of old cedar trees up there. And I always find it amazing that you can have any kind of tree at all growing out what seems to be a solid piece of rock.
Yeah.
So it's really amazing to see. I noticed too, there's a lot of birds that will nest up in these things too.
Yeah, looks like the swallows have built a lot of mud little nests up in there, and you'll see their babies poking their heads out every once in a while.
This is great out here. Now, can you actually go up on the shore?
According to the Michigan Supreme Court, you can go up to the high water mark, which would cover a little bit up onto the shore.
Okay, and there are a few beaches you could probably pull off to that too.
There is a small beach here, and it's a great little place to swim.
Well, it's beautiful. Where else do you usually take people when you go kayaking?
From our shop, you can also go out to the west. We went to the east when we came out of the shop. To the west of Port Austin is a place called Broken Rocks, which is another beautiful area. There are more big boulders, little rocks you can go in between, and then there's a nice big flat rock at the end of it all that you can go sit up on top of and have a picnic.
Now, you mentioned that this is considered a water trail through here. How does that work?
The Tip of the Thumb Heritage Water Trail goes around the tip of the thumb. It starts in Tuscola County. It's 117 miles long, and it goes all the way around from the west at Quantico and ends on the east side of the thumb at White Rock Park. Okay. And what it is basically the waters here. We have just provided an improved access points, and we've done maps and books and things of that nature to make it more accessible so that we can get kayaks and canoes and non-motorized boats out here and appreciating Lake Huron, the Saginaw Bay, and just the beautiful nature we have along the trail.
We were done with a great afternoon on the water and back at Chris's shop. I was going to walk into town and Chris yelled, "Hey, take my ride." Off I went on a bicycle built for two. Our next stop was the Lighthouse County Park. It is located 6 miles north of Port Hope and features 110 campsites on 120 acres of land. There are modern and tent sites available. The park is named for the Point Allbarks Lighthouse, which is still used as a Great Lakes navigational point and is a historical landmark. Follow a winding tree-lined drive to this remote, picturesque park where woods, water, and wide-open fields combine to provide 120 acres of fun for day visitors and campers alike.
Well, Steve and I have actually come up into the lighthouse. Now we're up at the top of the tower. You may not be able to tell that looking through the camera right there, but as you look off into the distance, you can probably tell we're at a high elevation. I'm not really sure, Steve, how high this is, but you said something like 93 steps up here?
93 steps to get up here, yes.
So you want to be in pretty good shape when you're coming up those stairs.
Or you want to be able to do it a lot.
And if you've ever been to a lighthouse, you know the quarters are tight coming up. You watch your head, you're careful. Now, we're up here today. Can the general public normally come up here?
No, they can't. We have several times a year special events that we permit the public to come.
During the summer months, tours of Point Allbarks Lighthouse Museum, located on the park's grounds, are offered. Artifacts salvaged from shipwrecks along the Lake Huron shoreline may be viewed and lore of the lake's tales are told. Gaze out along the rugged shoreline and imagine all the underwater obstacles that make this area one of the state's 9 bottomland preserves. 120 acres with 74 sites. Modern tent and group camping. Features electricity, running water, flush toilets, a sanitary station, boat launch, picnic grounds and shelters, playgrounds and fishing. There's so much to do on this peninsula that the adventure never ends. Our next stop would be in Harbor Beach, where we would meet our guide, Pam Simp. Pam owns the corner store, and this is where our excursion would start.
Well, hi, Pam.
Hey, Tom, how are you?
Good, how are
Glad to have
you?
You in Harbor Beach, and
Well,
welcome
we're
to the
glad
corner
to be
store.
here. And you know what? We've already talked to people. They say if you want to know anything about Harbor Beach, you come down here and talk to Pam.
Oh boy,
So,
putting the pressure on.
well, I don't think so. You got a lot here for us.
Harbor Beach is a great little town, a jewel that's just waiting to be discovered. Lots to do.
Is there? Have you got things we're going to go out and see?
Absolutely. We need to show you the community house. We need you to see the Murphy Museum, which is another great spot of history. And also the harbor. You know, the harbor is one of the greatest things that this town has to offer. Just a wonderful body for activity and fresh water and the lighthouse and the beach and the pier, and we're going to go and take a look at it all.
Okay, good. What kind of stores are going to be here in town?
You're going to see some gifts and collectibles like mine. We also have a darling little toy store next door that's been here for about 5 years that there's not one battery operated toy in it. A lot of real educational and inspirational things. It's just a really good stopping point here in Harbor Beach. We also have a men's and women's store. We have a drugstore mercantile. We have some great eating establishments, a true old-fashioned hardware. Just lots of great things in downtown Harbor Beach.
Well, you certainly piqued my interest here. Oh, what do you say we go out on that tour?
I think we should get going.
All right, let's go. Oh, I gotta have one of these first.
Help yourself.
We left the corner store and walked across the street to admire the murals that covered the whole side of the town's community center. Vicki Mazur, the center's director, gave us more details on it and the center.
Mural shows the history of Harbor Beach and the community. So they highlighted special things that are important in the history of the town and put it on the mural.
Okay, what are some of the things that you have here?
Well, we have a representation of the Great Fires and one of the most famous citizens in town, Frank Murphy. We have agriculture as one of our main industries. In the early years, the trains were very important and our town grew because of the train access we had. Of course, the lighthouse is very important. And then the last scene predicts one of the shipwrecks on the Great Lakes that happened here just off of our coast. It is a historic building. It was donated to the community in the early 1900s. It's a community center. It houses a theater, a gymnasium.
Is it a good spot, Vicki, for people coming through town, tourists, to stop into?
Well, it's a great spot. We give tours to anyone who asks.
Okay, very good. Like I said, it's easy to find as you come through town. We're right on 25 here, and you'll want to make this one of your stops when you come here.
Well, the harbor was initially built started in 1872 because the old sailboats heading north, if there were any kind of weather going across Saginaw Bay, they couldn't go any further. They had to turn around and sail back to Lake Huron, which was 60-some miles. So they needed a harbor of refuge. Harbor Beach was selected, at that time Sand Beach it was called, was selected to be the harbor of refuge, and they started building these cribs. And it took 11 years to build this breakwall. Now, of course, when you have a harbor, you have to have a lighthouse to direct them to the harbor. They initially built a skeletal lighthouse, and it was on the breakwall itself. Every time the storm would come and the waves would crash on the breakwall, the whole lighthouse would shake. Whoa! So the lightkeepers kept requesting money to build a better, stronger lighthouse. So in 1885, our current lighthouse was built, and it's built on a crib separated from the breakwall. It's about 8 feet separation between the breakwall and the crib. Our lighthouse is different. Harbor Beach Harbor is the world's greatest freshwater man-made harbor. It is very large. It's 1 mile wide by 3 miles long. We're very fortunate to have it here because if the water is too rough outside in the lake, we can play around in here. There's people water skiing, or you can sail in here, and it's relatively calm.
The Frank Murphy Museum is located in the original Murphy's home. Frank Murphy was born in Harbor Beach, Michigan on April 13, 1890. He graduated from the University of Michigan Law School and returned to Harbor Beach to practice law with his father and later his brother. A member of the Democratic Party, Murphy was elected mayor of Detroit in 1930 and was elected governor of Michigan in 1937. Mr. Murphy served as the Governor General, U.S. High Commissioner of the Philippine Islands. The following year, the President nominated him to become a member of the Supreme Court. Over the next 9 years, Murphy established himself as a strong defender of civil rights. Frank Murphy died in Detroit on July 19, 1949. We only had time for a small sample of things to do in Harbor Beach, but we'll be back for a more thorough exploration. In the early 1880s, businessman John Kindy arrived in Michigan's Central Thumb area and established a general store, lumber yard, grain elevator, and post office, and soon after, the town was officially called Kindy. Kindy is renowned as the bean capital of the world, and Michigan bean soup has been a staple for over 100 years in the U.S. Senate dining room. Today, the town is better known for its annual Polka Festival and the Pasta House. As we continue our tour of Huron County and Michigan's Thumb, one of the places that everyone talked about was the Pasta House. Now, the food is really good, but this place was more than just food, it was fun. And for old guys like me, it was a step back into a simpler time. I couldn't believe it. I walked into the same malt shop and soda counter that I had spent time in as a kid. When we continued to the restaurant, it was another nostalgic voyage. Old photos and replica furniture and decorations from the 60s.
Really the heart of the Thumb, isn't it?
Absolutely, that's what we consider. We're in the heart of the Thumb, where you can get to our establishment here and enjoy a fun-filled day with your family. When they come here, they're going to find a wonderful amusement area where they can come here, have a little game of putt-putt golf, a water slide, rock climb, and it's in packages where you can spend 2 and 3 hours here and do whatever you want. And afterwards, you can have an ice cream cone in our old-fashioned ice cream shop. And from that point on, you can go right down to the pasta house and have some of the best pasta in the area.
Well, you know what? And I have talked to people already, and they tell me this is the spot to come to for it.
Polka fans will love this little town in September because it becomes the home to the Kindy Polka Fest. Polka Fest is held every year in September, the second weekend after Labor Day. It features some of the country's best polka bands playing non-stop polka music. There are 2 world-class golf courses in Huron County, and if you enjoy golf, both of these courses offer some special amenities that all golfers will enjoy. Established in 1924, the naturally rolling face of the Verona Hills Golf Club is a source of local pride. This rambling 6,500-yard gym is discreetly tucked into the heart of Michigan's Thumb area, the crowning glory of the region's predominantly flat topography. Verona Hills is a comfortable and uncrowded course with an 18-hole championship course. Just east of Bad Axe on M142, it is easily reached from Harbor Beach, Caseville, or Cass City, Sandusky. It is also easily reached from Metro Detroit, Flint, Bay City, and Saginaw. Ubley Heights Golf and Country Club opened in 1997 and has an 18-hole, 7,003-yard championship layout featuring mounding terrain and tall heather grasses common to the link-style designs. Ubley Heights is the only course in the area with bent grass tees, fairways, and greens. It also has a number of holes that twist through woodland.
Ryan, you brought us over, and I think you said this was 16 here. One of your favorite holes. Why don't you tell me a little bit about it?
Well, 16's our signature hole. It's the longest hole on the golf course. It's a par 5, of course, a double dogleg par 5, wow. Even with a little bit of a snake around the pond here behind us to the 16th green. A little bit of heather that comes into play out here, and obviously a lot of water. So it's definitely our most challenging hole here at Ubley. So. But we also have some wooded lands and some other holes that run through the woods. So it's a really good variety of good playable golf for the average golfer, but yet can be very challenging for the experienced player as well.
I was going to say, you know, the challenge here might be, and I see all these windmills in the background, and maybe you're seeing them too, but that's got to mean there's a lot of wind here.
There's a lot of wind here, yeah, absolutely. The golf course, you know, being fairly open and being that link style and being in the area that we are in, they get a lot of wind up in this area. We're surrounded by water on 3 sides, you know, to the west, the north, and to the east by about 15 miles from here. So, you know, the cool water coming in, you know, with the hot summer days, create a lot of wind here and create some trouble for some golfers. So.
Construction of Michigan's largest commercial-scale wind farm near Ubley has been successfully completed despite the complexities of the project. John Deere Renewables, a national leader in wind energy development, and Consumers Energy, the utility purchasing the power, announced that Michigan Wind 1 went into commercial operation on December 16th. Located on Lake Huron, Port Hope is truly the little town with a big welcome. The quaint, small-town atmosphere provides the perfect setting for a relaxing vacation or a summer home. There's so much to see and do here that we have built a special website that will take you on a complete tour of Huron County. It includes things to do, directions, along with video clips and links for more information. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.